What's going on? What's happening? Welcome to the channel and welcome to a video that I have wanted to do for a while now. If you are like me and you play a lot of All-Pro Football 2K8, then you've probably wondered this at some point or another: who would be better, an all-offensive team or an all-defensive team? And we are here to test that out today because I am extremely curious and I want to know. Now, I will not be playing any of these games. This is basically just simulating through and seeing where we stand at different points of the season. And we can sit here and we can compare records, stats, whatever y'all want to compare, man. We are gonna do that today. So I got my team here. We got OJ Simpson and Raymond Berry as our gold stars. We got Randall Cunningham, Todd Christensen, and Andre Reed as our silver. And at our bronze, we pretty much got some offensive linemen, another wide receiver, and a kicker. Okay, you're gonna have to have a kicker because we went through some stuff when we did not have a kicker, and that's gonna be very important, okay? Especially if you want to try and win close games. So from building that, you have to construct the other parts of your team because obviously you've only picked 11 players. That is not enough to make up a team, okay? Not enough to make up a team at all. So you have to fill in every other position based on what you want. If you want deep threat wide receivers, possession wide receivers, or balanced wide receivers, you pick accordingly, and it goes like that for every position. I gotta do that because some people don't know how this game goes. So if you're a veteran and saying, oh, why he up? Yeah, you know why, okay? You know why. We're trying to get people into this game because this is one of the best football games that you could ever own in your life, and it's available on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. I'm pretty sure you can get it modded on your PC, whatever you want to do, man. Hey, it's up to you. I ain't mad at it. I'm glad at it. Now we are picking our logo, our stadium, and our uniform. I kind of like the Stampeders. I'm not even gonna hold you. I kind of like the color scheme, everything. I don't think I'm gonna be changing anything because, as you know, we're not playing none of the games, okay? I don't know why I would change it if I'm not even gonna be able to see them. Now we are gonna take a look at what division we are in. We are in the North Division in the Pacific Conference, and our rivals are gonna be the Beasts, the Indians, and the Werewolves. So we looking pretty good. You got every other division listed on there for everybody to see. It's pretty much the same. If you already know how to play the game, you've already been there, you already know what these divisions look like. When they add you in, it's pretty much based on what city and what state that you are gonna be representing, obviously. You understand what I'm telling you? So this is our divisions, these are our conferences, and now we are gonna take a look at our schedule. We got the Denver Cougars, the Los Angeles Legends, the St. Louis Rhinos, Milwaukee Indians, Minneapolis Werewolves, Arizona Scorpions, Tampa Bay Top Guns, Chicago Beasts, Texas Rustlers, Las Vegas Rollers, Dallas Gunslingers, Milwaukee Indians, Miami Cyclones, Chicago Beasts, Minneapolis Werewolves, and the San Francisco Sharks to close out the year. So I am very excited. I'm ready to see what we can do in our first 4 weeks with an all-offensive team, and we're gonna check out those stats immediately after these games are simulated. You can see the team record. You can see how we are doing. We are currently 1-2. Okay, now we are 2-2. So we are 2-2 currently. We have beat the Cougars and we have also beat the Milwaukee Indians. And as you see, these are not games that are won by a bunch of points, okay? But we outscored those teams. We escaped because I'm pretty sure that our defense is wild buns. Randall Cunningham, 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's a silver star quarterback. He's doing his thing right now. You understand what I'm telling you? OJ Simpson, over 500 yards, 3 touchdowns, only 1 fumble lost. Not bad, man. It's not bad at all. And as you can see with our wide receivers, my man in the whole 100 grand, Randall Cunningham, has been spreading the ball to pretty much everybody, all right? Nobody is running away with the yards, but Andre Reed is running away with the receptions. And as far as touchdown goes, Todd Christensen is leading us in the touchdown department with 3 through the air. And we got Morris Green with a bunch of assists, okay? And he's got 1 tackle. Mike Gardner leads sacks for us. Passes defended. We only got 1 pass defended. Look at my man Brad Allen, though. We got him in our current season with the San Diego Gorillas. He's got an interception. Shout out to him. And my man Al Del Greco goes 5 for 6 in the first 4 games. So, I mean, in the first 4, we are really not doing that bad. I really like what we got going on, but can we keep winning is gonna be the question. So we're gonna have to see what happens. We lose our very next game. We lose the one after that as well. We win the next one, and then we drop the 8th game. So we are currently sitting at 3-5. We lost to the Werewolves. We lost to the Scorpions. We did beat the Tampa Bay Top Guns by 3. Again, all of our wins haven't been by more than 7. We had a 6-point win, and then everything else is pretty much 3-point wins. So I don't know. Our defense is not holding up like they should, but it's all good because we expected this. This is what we knew was gonna happen. We already knew what was going on, all right? All right, so coming up next on the schedule, we do have some teams that are pretty good with the exception of the Rollers. I did have to check the injuries just to see if anybody on our team is injured so we could, use an excuse. We got 20 touchdowns through the air, 3 interceptions for my man Randall Cunningham, and he's got over 2,000 yards so far. But look at O.J. Simpson, all right? 953 yards on the ground, 4 touchdowns, 130 broken tackles, a 5.3 yard rushing average, and a 2-point conversion to boot. My man is having a really good year so far. Let's just say that. Andre Reed is poised to go over 1,000 yards on the season. Hopefully we can get about 2 or 3 receivers over that, even though that doesn't sound too realistic as I am saying it. But we are doing our thing, man. We are definitely doing our thing. Who is that? Aaron Cowan with the most tackles so far through 8 games. He's got 73 tackles. These guys are out here working hard, all right? They trash, but they're working hard. And somewhere, that has to mean something to somebody. We got the most sacks with Mike Gardner. He is still leading us in that department, and he has taken those quarterbacks back for a total of 23 yards. Shout out to my man. We got a couple interceptions now, not too many, and my man Al Del Greco is doing his thing as he should, 10 for 12. So he's 83% going through these first 8 games, and I really like what he's got going on because we need him to keep doing his thing. Now, we are now simulating through weeks number 9 through 12, and let's see what happens. We drop the first one. We win the next one. We up 2-game winning streak is looking up, and we finish it with a 3-game winning streak in the next 4 games. We lost to the Rustlers, but we beat the Rollers, we beat the Gunslingers, and we also beat the Indians. 2 close ones and one that we won by 14. I'm happy to see that. Now if we can ride this momentum into the last 4 games, we might be able to make the playoffs, but we're gonna have to check and see where everybody stands in the division. And we gotta check out some of these stats too, because you already know. Now, there was a couple injuries that we did have on our team, but it's nobody that we really need like that, okay? It's the no-star people, and the no-star people don't matter right now. We need the stars to stay healthy. And in our division currently, the Werewolves are leading at 8-4. We got the Legends at 9-3 in their division, and the Rhinos at 7-5. But if you look at the North where we were, 3 teams are currently 6-6. And it's really close, okay? We probably can make it into the playoffs, but more than likely we're gonna need every single one of these games we have to win, okay? That's pretty much it. We got the Americans on the other side and the Ironmen. They are both locked into the playoffs, with the Cobras looking like they are struggling at 6-6 to win their division, but they just might do it. Now, my man Randall Cunningham is having a really great year. 2,900 yards, 27 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, all right? OJ Simpson is smacking everything in front of him. He's got 1,600 yards, 9 touchdowns, and a 6.1 yard average per carry. That's absolutely amazing. My man Raymond Berry is having a good year. He's got 9 total touchdowns and 700 yards to boot. So our receiving core, our quarterback, our running back, I mean, everybody is really doing their thing. And then when it comes to the defense, we got guys with a bunch of tackles, a bunch of assists out here, as Morris Green is the assist king out here, okay? My man's looking like John Stockton out here in these streets. But we don't have many turnovers that we have grabbed. Only about 4 so far in the air. No touchdowns whatsoever. We got a bunch of tackle for losses. Forced fumbles are there, but are the fumble recoveries? No. So we've literally only had 5 turnovers forced by our defense. And Al Del Greco is still doing his thing, 14 for 16. I'm interested to see how this defensive team that we got coming up performs. But since we are still on the offense right now, we got to try and stay focused. I don't know how I would because we are only simulating these games. But in the next game, we drop it to the Miami Cyclones, lose to the Beasts, beat the Werewolves, and then lose to the Sharks. And that will end our season as we finish with 7-9 with the all-offensive team. We ended up coming last in our division. 7-9, I mean, I feel like 7-9 really isn't that bad for that kind of team. But nobody wants to go 7-9 and miss the playoffs. The Werewolves end up winning our division. They are locked into the playoffs. Then we got the Americans, the Wasps, the Federals, and the Ironmen all going to the playoffs on the Atlantic side of the ball. And our season is over. It is done. We did not make the playoffs, but these are your league leaders. And I don't believe we have not another league leader, which is cool because you don't necessarily need a bunch of league leaders on a losing team. I would like to have them on a winning team. I would just like to have a winning team, period. But here we go with the end of season stats. Randall Cunningham, 36 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, over 4,000 yards. My man had a year. So did OJ Simpson. He put up a year, okay? He had 2021, all right? 2,021 rushing yards. My man did his thing. You hear me? My whole offense did their thing, really. It's just the defense wasn't really there, okay? But that's to be expected. We knew what we were getting into. Shout out to Mike Gardner, man. He has led the sacks for the team at every interval when we've checked these stats. Shout out to him. He really did good. My man Brad Allen finished with 3 interceptions, and Al Del Greco finishes with 82% in the air, 14 for 17. You gotta love it. So the playoffs are over and done, and the championship has been won by the Los Angeles Legends. They ended up defeating the Rhinos in the semifinals, as well as beating the Scorpions on their way to the AFL Championship, which looked like it was a really good championship game as they defeated the Americans by 7 points. But ladies and gentlemen, it is time to switch gears. It is time to get ready because now we have built a defensive team. We got Art Donovan and Rod Woodson as our gold stars. We got Jack Tatum, Joey Browner, and Harry Carson as our silver stars. And in the bronze, we got a bunch of players for our defensive line, and we got some outside linebackers as well. I'm hoping my man William D. Refridge holds us down on that defensive front, because if we got that going, you already know, man, this defense might be able to put up more points than our offense in some of these games. And I'm just going to keep it real with you. We are probably going to have a stinker of a team on offense, but this is something that we already know, people. Now, I know we made it this far in the video, but if you are new here and you like what we do here, feel free to hit that subscribe. I promise you it's free, okay? It's free. Hit that like, drop me a comment. You talk, I talk back. As far as the rest of the players go on this defensive team. I really wasn't sure what to do with these guys. I'm pretty sure we won't need the majority of them, but it was the same way for the offense. And you got to do something. You can't just not pick anything. So we're going to go ahead and go through it and see what we can do, man. As far as our offense goes, I don't even know, man. I don't know if we need scramblers or pocket passers, because you're really not going to know what those receivers are until you put a label on them. I think if we got deep threat receivers and we got a pocket quarterback, we could be okay, but they aren't possession receivers. We probably should go balanced, but we're going to go with deep threat and see how that works out. And I'm not going to hold you. We're going to have to go back, baby, because the Bandits sound like a really good defensive team, okay? They look like somebody who is going to come in there, force fumbles, force interceptions, hit your quarterback, and leave you laying on your back bag the entire time. We're going to run with it, man. We are the Bakersfield Bandits. I kind of like that name. I'm not going to hold you. The Bakersfield Bandits. This might be an all right team. And even though I did not add this into the video, I'm thinking about doing a whole game with the Stampedes against the Bandits. Anchorage versus Bakersville. See which team is actually better going head to head. Now, they do have us in the South Division of the Pacific Conference, and we are in there with the Rollers, the Rustlers, and the Scorpions once again. So we're going to see what happens during this season. The Atlantic Conference, obviously, that does not change. It's the same thing as the last season or any other season that you played the game. Now, our schedule does look a little similar to the offensive schedule, but since we're in a different conference, we do have different opponents, and this is who we are going up against this season. We still got the San Francisco Sharks, we got the Texas Rustlers, the Las Vegas Rollers, the St. Louis Rhinos, the Philly Americans. So we do have some really good teams in there that have been mixed with our conference opponents. So let's see what we are looking like through our first 4 games. Now, on offense, we went 2-2 through our first 4, okay? And on defense, we are starting off 1-1, 1-2, and 1-3. So there is a bit of difference between the offensive team and the defensive team, as the defensive team drops 3 straight after absolutely destroying the Denver Cougars. Now, these were somewhat close, except for that Rustlers game. We lost by 14, and we only lost by 3 to the Assassins, but we did lose by 7 to the Werewolves. So I don't know, man. We're going to check out our offensive stats. Our quarterback is over 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 53% completion rate. Not the best, not the worst either. We've only taken about 8 sacks so far, which is about 2 per game. That's not bad. On the ground, we got Jerron Chaney, and he has put up 313 yards. No touchdowns, though. Not sure what that's about, but we got no touchdowns on the ground. My man Gary Ism is leading the team with yards and touchdowns as well. He seems to be a pretty good receiver for us. And now let's take a look at what we are here for, the defense. My man Jack Tatum is leading the way with tackles. And my man Rod Woodson has 19 assists. He is the assist GOAT out here in these streets. As far as sacks go, we do have a couple, but nobody is really breaking away from the pack as far as leading the team. Now, we do have a couple passes defended and only 2 interceptions. I believe that's more than what we had with our offensive team. I was expecting to maybe have a little more, but let's see what we are looking like. Tackles for loss, we are doing our thing there. Forced fumbles, 1, and no fumble recovery. So we've only forced 2 turnovers on defense. We do not have a good kicker, but he has gone 3 for 5. And we're going to check out what we do through the next 4 games. We do have some pretty good opponents in there, so I'm hoping we do at least a little something. In the next game, we pick up a victory, and then we drop the next one, drop the one after that, and we end up going 3-5. This is interesting because our offensive team was at 3-5 through the first 8 games, and our defensive team is holding the same record right now. So I like what's happening, okay? Nobody is really dominating. We're doing our thing. We picked up a couple victories, not the best victories, but we have been smashed in a couple games. I don't really like that. I don't really like that at all. We got a defensive team. We need to do something with it. We need to put some points on the board through our defense, and I'm hoping those guys get it done, man. The Bandits are 3-5. We are 3rd in the South Division of the Pacific Conference. The Scorpions are running away with it. The Werewolves are running away with it, and the Rhinos are locked in a close battle in the Central. Now, meanwhile, in the Atlantic Conference, the Firebirds and the Federals are locked in. The South Conference is locked in. It's very close. 2 games separates that whole division. And in the North, you got the Minutemen holding it down with the Assassins right on their heels. So everything is looking pretty good right now. I mean, other than our record, I'm 3-5 is not, I wouldn't consider that looking pretty good, but we got 1,400 yards through the air with Max Barnum, 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I think my man Randall Cunningham through 8 games had over 2,000 yards. So yeah, you see the difference there. Our running game is almost non-existent. Our passing game, he has been spreading the ball out pretty well, so I will give him that. Gary Ism still leading in receptions, yards, and touchdowns to boot. So he's doing his thing, but we really don't have anybody else that can do anything on offense. Harry Carson is leading the way with tackles, and Otis Wilson is leading the way with sacks. He is a bronze star, so that is always good to see, in my opinion, especially when he's outperforming, gold stars and silver stars in that department. Anyway, as far as interceptions go, my man Browner has 3 interceptions, and we are starting to do something like we knew something, and that's what I like. We got 2 fumble recoveries as well. So our defense, they haven't won us games, but I feel like they haven't lost us games either, because if we had a better offense, obviously, we would probably more than likely put up a lot better stats and a lot more points as well. But let's see what we looking like through the next 4 games. We come out and lose 1 immediately, and then in the next game we bounce back with a dub. That's what you want to see. That's what the people want. We end up stringing along 2 dubs, and now after 12 games we are currently 5-7. And how do you like me now? Okay, now through the first 12 games our offense was 6-6, so I feel like our defense isn't doing that bad, but we probably could have strung another one along, and that other one would have been the one against the Seattle Sailors, that 2-point victory. That should have been ours, but that could have been a kicking problem. That could have been a kicking issue, and like I said, if you do not have a star kicker, it's gonna fall to the wayside. Just put it that way. The Bandits 5-7 in the division. The Rollers are 8-4, and look what happened to the Scorpions. They started off 7-1 and then lost 4 straight. Okay, so it's only really 3 games that separate us from the top of our division. So I feel like we can make something happen, but at the same time, every other team would have to lose pretty much the rest of the games. And I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening at all. Our best shot is to finish at 9-7 and hopefully make the playoffs. I don't know if that's going to happen though, but let's see exactly where we go from here. After starting 5-7, we go 5-8 in the next week, and 5-9, 5-10. And our last game of the season is dropped as well. So we hope that every other team would lose out, and it ends up being us that lose out. We lost to the Rollers, we lost to the Rhinos, the Americans, and the Scorpions. They all beat us. Wow, was that like a 5-6 game losing streak to end the season? Well, the answer has finally been presented to your boy, because I had to do this. Sometimes you just gotta know, and sometimes you don't wanna know. but this is one of those things that I had to know, so I had to do this for y'all. I appreciate y'all stopping with me and rocking with me through this whole thing. I'm really glad that I actually finally put this out here because it was supposed to drop last week, but hey man, it's all good. We ain't worried about none of that. We trying to get things done over here. Let's take a look at some of these final stats as my man Max Barnum went 2,700 yards, 21 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. We do have a 1,000-yard rusher on the ground. Thankfully, not many rushing touchdowns though. I think we ended up with 7 total. 7 total rushing touchdowns. Doesn't sound like a really good number. Gary Ism held us down with 600 plus yards, 7 touchdowns, not many drops, whole bunch of targets, but the rest of our receiving core was really not that good. Our defense, they tried to do their thing, man, but if you do not have a good offense on the field, your defense is gonna be out there all game long. And that seemed like what the problem was. Dexter Manley ended up with the most sacks for our team, and we really had a bunch of sacks on the defense. I'm not gonna hold you. These guys really got out there and got after the quarterback, but sometimes it does not matter if you can't do anything on offense. 3 interceptions for Joey Browner. He had a good season. Still no touchdowns whatsoever. The tackles for loss were definitely there. Okay, they were definitely there. We had a bunch of those. Had a couple fumble recoveries. No more after that though. Only 2 to end out the season. And no, that's not Aldell Greco at all. I'm thinking about the wrong team. Derek Barrow, he went 12 for 17. So that's really not that bad for a no-star kicker. But it could have been better, okay? It could have been better. I think 15 or 14 for 17 would have been pretty reasonable to go ahead and put that out there. But it is what it is, man. I don't think we had any league leaders again, and Earl Campbell is a cheat code on this game. If you have watched any of these episodes that I have put up in the franchises that I've done on 2K8, you already know the man is a cheat code. I'm pretty sure he probably won the total points title as well. Interceptions, we didn't have many interceptions. We didn't have many sacks as a team. We had a lot though. A lot. Yeah, total points, 150 for Earl Campbell. The man won 4 awards. What do you what do you do against that? I don't know what you do against that. And it is the New Jersey Assassins that have ran away with the APL championship as they defeat the Las Vegas Rollers 34-24. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the Rollers went 8-8 and they went all the way to the championship. So shout out to them because they put in some work this season. That is for sure. Man, I appreciate y'all stopping with me and rocking with me. Again, if you made it this far, go ahead, hit that like, hit that subscribe. I will greatly appreciate it. If you want to talk to me, and we will be back soon with more content for you, for them, for everybody, because that's what we do. I've been me, you've been you, and until the next time we speak,